Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Collaborate, a couple that loves to play board games.
And today we're going to tell you about some of the hottest ones that we saw at PAX Unplugged.
If you haven't seen it already, watch our recap video about PAX Unplugged and our first experience with the convention down below.
A convention. It's our first convention.
Ever.
Yeah. Well, how we're going to do this is we're going to give some honorable mentions and go 5, 2, 1, revealing the various levels of excitement that we have for these games.
Yes, exactly. So, honorable mention. Oh, I guess we should set like the scene about how we decided these games.
Go.
Okay, so basically the games that are going to be part of this list are games that we played or really wanted to play while we were at PAX.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Especially, particularly with honorable mentions, is we wanted to play.
And I think almost all of these, all the ones that we had the 5 in, we have got at least a demo in, so we have a decent understanding.
And they will be coming out in the new year. Hopefully early in the new year, but
yes.
Yes, yeah.
Well, our honorable mentions are in no particular order.
Kites.
From Floodgate Games.
Yes.
It's essentially a real-time game where you're flying kites.
A brand new first designer.
Yes.
First game. Yeah. And then the second one is Tidal Blades 2. As all of you may know, I love Tidal Blades. It's very, very cool. And the way that I hear that they've set up this new one is it's more like role-play-y.
It's like Gloomhaven, and
but also like it takes the characters from the game that I love so much and then like grows them up into teenagers, so or maybe older than that. But for those of you who don't know, the storyline is basically like they're fighting
to become a Tidal Blade.
Yeah, exactly. And in the game, they graduate or they're doing their test to become a Tidal Blade. But in the new one, they've graduated and they are a Tidal Blade. So, or they're part of the Tidal Blades. So
I'm so excited. I think we'll definitely be talking about this game more because we have so much love for the first one. We didn't actually get the chance to play it at PAX, but I can't wait to get my hands on this game and to play it and just to love it so much.
I got a big hug from James, so
that counts.
That counts, right?
Okay, and last but certainly not least, Bitoku from Devere Games.
Yes.
We had the opportunity to play it before the convention, actually, but they were selling it and had the convention, and it's such a beautiful, stunning game. The mechanics flow so smoothly, but essentially you're also trying to take over the spirit of Bitoku.
Well, not take over.
Not take over,
the great elk spirit is retiring as the Bitoku spirit, and it is your duty to prove why you should be the next one.
Card drafting, card deck building.
Kind of.
Yeah, I'd say it's a deck building. Yeah. Dice placement, dice manipulation, lots of fun mechanics in that one, and it's absolutely stunning.
Beautiful. It's a lot, and maybe we'll try to cover it some way, but I definitely want to take pictures of it because it's gorgeous.
Well, and that is our honorable mentions. Do you want to kick things off with number 5?
Number 5. Yeah, sure. Okay. Number 5 for us is Riverside. Now, Riverside is published by Chili Fox Games, and it's designed by Elif and Asmund Svensson. This game is basically you're going on a tour, stopping by these attractions, and the main mechanic is a roll and write.
Yeah, so you're recruiting people on your ship to go see expeditions, and it's very thematic.
Yes, it is very thematic, and as most roll and writes are, you've got the combos that you can create by getting more tourists on different boats by scratching off a certain boat. You can unlock business, you can just make or bonuses. You can unlock bonuses, and then you can basically just score a lot of points.
So many points.
Yes.
We had the opportunity to teach this game and play this game. I think this was our most played
game at PAX.
At PAX.
Yeah.
We've taught it to many folks.
Yep.
And we had a great time with it.
From what I heard, everybody else enjoyed it as well. So if you're looking for another meatier type of roll and write, this one is not as meaty as Hadrian's Wall or Fleet, but it's definitely
kind of
up
right
there.
in the middle.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. So we're really excited about this one. It's a new publisher. For their first game alongside
designers have been around for quite some time too.
Yes.
And that is
Riverside.
So number 4 is Skull Canyon Ski Fest. So this is a new and upcoming game from Pandasaurus Games. It's designed by Jason Klink and Kip Noschus. Apologies on the pronunciations there if I got those wrong. Essentially what it is it's a combination of a little bit of Ticket to Ride where you're trying to discard sets of cards to move down the slopes, and a little bit of Parks where you're taking spots and moving and trying to make sure that you're taking advantage of all the ski resorts, all the resorts and all the locations of the ski resort that you can possibly to get the bonuses. There's also a Yeti who every now and then appears and spooks you and damages your rotation. But overall, it's such a stunning game. The mechanics are really clever in it. We had a beautiful demo in it at PAX, and it won my heart.
Yeah, it's got a great theme to it because I think it's very interesting. You start, like, basically what you do is you start at the top of the hill, or actually you start at the lifts, and then
you gotta go up the lifts,
and then you ride down.
Skis. There's some tougher slopes that you gotta show off some skills and do some cool tricks.
The bunny hills.
Some more relaxing, just go straight down and be nice.
Yep. So then you will basically ride down the mountain, and then at the end of the day, you'll go and hang out in the
village.
Ski lounge.
Yeah.
And the village.
So
it's a very, very cool theme, and I'm excited to play it. It seems a little bit on the middle, like it's a middleweight game.
It's a middleweight game.
So I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, and that is number 4.
Number 3. This one is a new Legacy game. Dun 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 dun. Called Jurassic World: Legacy of Isle Nublar. I think I'm saying that right.
That was Isle of Nublar.
Legacy of Isle Nublar.
Oh, Isle of Nublar.
Nublar, right.
Nublar. Well, anyway.
Pronunciation. All right.
This game
is...
Okay, so it takes you through the Jurassic parts and Jurassic World's not entire...
It's designed by the folks from Prosper Hall, and it's published by Funko Games.
And it takes you through the worlds and the franchise of Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, and when you think of a Legacy game, you might have some notions of what that looks like. Well, this game has it. There's stickers, there's scratch-off pads, there's a modular way that you can kind of save rulebook pieces on a keyring.
There's mini games. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started on the rulebook.
The rulebook is super cool.
The keychain rulebook is so smart.
Yes, because you know, like in Legacy games, when you unlock certain parts and you have to keep reflecting on various parts of the rulebook and how does it work now that we're here?
Flip.
Now there's a keychain that has certain rules, and if, for example, you're working on a mini game that has its own separate rules, you can take that off and actually have your own little rulebook for the section that you're working on as part of a cooperative adventure.
Yep, and say if like some of the rules get overridden, you take those cards off and you put them away, or maybe you rip them up. I don't know what they've got planned with it, but we got to sit down with Jesse and Adam from Funko Games, and they gave us a nice rundown of the game. Unfortunately, because it's a Legacy game, it was a lot of envelopes.
We did not get to see too much, but what's really neat is that there's the beginning game that you can play over and over to kind of start off, and it won't affect your game, so you can kind of get to know the game and understand the mechanics. But then once you go through the game as well, you'll have a finished product, which is really neat because the way that they've designed the game, I think you can speak better to this.
Yeah, so if I understood this correctly, it sounds as if they had designed the game and then retroactively worked backwards. So they designed the Legacy game in mind to have a full game at the end of the Legacy, which is replayable. That being said, you get a lot of different Legacy games that do this, but then like it just gets kind of overwhelming with what they've put on top of the game.
In general, there's so many elements of this game that we're excited for. It's a really big box with a lot of content, unlockable content. The art is great. The whole franchise is great. The mechanics are really interesting. There's some hidden movements with dinosaurs, some planning ahead, some mini puzzles, and generally it's a forward-moving game as well. So you're not going to have to play any scenarios, but it could mean that some characters are not doing so well by the end of the game. But then that's a great story that you have to tell from when you do play that and be like, oh yeah, sorry, this character just had some unluck like moments.
Bad luck.
some bad luck in the second scenario. So, you know, it happens.
Yeah, it just goes to show that this game can change based on how the outcome of your gameplay.
And that is
Jurassic World: Legacy of Isle Nublar.
Close enough. And it's
Nublar.
It's coming to Kickstarter sometime in the new year. We'll link it down below so you can keep waiting for this exciting game.
Exactly.
So up next we have
Familiar Tales.
So this one's designed by Jerry Hawthorne and published by Plaid Games. It was actually our first demo.
Our very first meeting.
A meeting of PAX. So we got to demo this game with Jerry, the designer himself, and it was such a phenomenal experience. This game blew me away.
Yep, 100% blew me away as well. And also the experience we had just like seeing Jerry teach us the game, like you could really see like the effort he put into it and just like the happiness he had for the game that he was presenting.
I think I've never been this excited for a narrative, because essentially what the story is there's these familiars. So usually side characters of a lot of movies and a lot of like animated movies as well, that take care of this princess and are trying to get her to this location over 3 eras. So she's going to grow from a baby to a full-on teenager, and there's a lot of narrative in the story. And the mechanics are also great as well. There's deck building, which we love, but there's various maps and pages that you're going to walk through and battle various miniatures of some sorts, some guards. And there's a great story that is app-driven. It reads to you, and there's some great voices in there that I just want to know what happens.
Yeah, each of the characters that you're able to play are very unique. They've
Who
got
did you
their
play?
own little personalities. I played Gribbert. He's like I want to say he's like the logical one. He like thinks through a lot of this stuff, and he also probably worries too much.
I played Chalk, so he was like this big,
the defender,
wood kind of golem.
Yeah.
But he had a little bird that spoke for him, which was really cute. But he was definitely like, I'm gonna brave through and protect everybody, which was wonderful.
Yeah, and there's also a fairy
and a fox.
And a fox. Yeah.
The fox is very feisty, so.
Exactly.
But in general, there's just so much that we're excited for this game. What really sold me is that you have to balance quite a lot in this game. You're trying to collect resources, survive, as well as push through the narrative and go through the various paths, but also raise this baby and child. And you have to feed her, make sure that she's happy, because if she's not, later in the era, she can become rebellious and affect your gameplay in different ways, where if you take really good care of her, she'll support you.
Yeah. Yeah, and she becomes her own little character that you don't really control, but like she acts her own way. There are hints towards she might even run away if you don't treat her properly.
Oh, no.
Who knows? But it is very interesting, because kind of like Jurassic World, it is a game that depends, the outcome of the next time you play it depends on how you do in that like first scenario.
And that is Familiar Tales from Plaid Games, and pre-order is available right now. I believe it releases in January.
Yes, very excited for this one.
And last, but certainly not least, our number one game that we simply just could not stop talking about.
What we literally told everybody about this game.
We did.
That we had a chance to. It was amazing. It's called Decorum, and it's published by Floodgate Games. It's designed by Harry and Charlie Mackin and Drew Tenenbaum. So basically, in this social deduction game, essentially, Ilya's shaking his head, but that's exactly what it is. It's a social deduction? Cohabiting, almost role-play-y type game where you're trying to coexist with your roommates and just be okay with how the house is. And essentially, so how this works is everybody will get a card, and it'll give you indication of how you would like the specific rooms set up. Each room has 4 traits, 4 of the exact same traits: paint, wall color, furniture, art, and
painting,
lamps. I can't remember the 4.
Trinkets,
but within those 4, there are 4 different colors, and each corresponds basically to something that will probably be said on one of the cards.
There's like styles of the furniture as well. That's not always the same color though, so I think that's
and it's notified by a symbol, which is really nice. Grid. Yeah, and basically you'll work towards getting your goal in hand, while also trying to figure out like what the other folks you're playing with have, and you do this by basically taking an action and then getting a response from everybody. And it's really funny because you can like place a lamp, and then I'll look over to Ilya and be like, how does this make you
I'll
feel?
be like, I like this.
And we're good to go. And
Yeah.
then it's Ilya's turn.
So, and the really cool element is like, so your actions really consist of either placing things, taking things out, or moving things to a different room. And the responses is what really sells this game.
Oh,
to me.
yes. Yeah,
Because it starts out as very much of like, oh, this is good, or like, don't like this. And then 5 minutes later, you'll look at the game and you'll be like, if you put this camel lamp in our kitchen one more time, you're out of here. No,
Yeah.
this isn't happening. So you really get to, it's not...
Meat! That was a sneeze.
Bless you. It's not really meant to be a I wouldn't really call it necessarily a role play game, but the role playing element really shines in it because initially it's very like tame. It's like, this is good, this is bad. We're cooperative trying to fill this puzzle, but then like as you get more comfortable, you start just bickering like a couple.
Or maybe it should always be like that, and you shouldn't even start that way. Conveniently, an empty room is easy to not complain about. So as you start to build it up, it gets harder and harder to figure out exactly what needs to go on.
And there's a campaign, so we only kind of got to demo the first part. There's actually a narrative. You're given characters, and you actually get to experience what their adventure is like. And there's so much simply to love about this game. I cannot wait to play it. It's, I think, going to be on my top anticipated game.
Well, and the campaign is different for each player count as well, I believe.
Oh.
Or at least for 2 and 4. Maybe for 3.
Yeah.
But and the way you interact with folks is different when you play with 4 players as well. It's definitely a back and forth with 2 players, but with 4 players, like you can give part of your clue to one of the players that is responding to what you just did. And the other thing I guess I should probably mention is all of these are possible. Like, so all of the scenarios that they lay out for you, they're possible to do where you can meet the
Somewhere in the middle.
optimal condition.
We're like, this is fine.
Yep.
This will work. This is our living condition now.
And I think it's so relatable, like having just bought our house.
Everyone's related to it,
Yeah.
whether it's living with your parents, for having roommates for the first time, being in a shared living situation. You've had to battle if that giraffe lamp needs to be in the bedroom or not.
I like it, but not a lot. I don't like it.
Bonus points if you know where that reference is from. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. That's been our top 5 games from PAX U. You know what to do?
Hit that thumbs up button if you liked what you saw, and that subscribe button to continue supporting us, and maybe even that bell notification, because we make videos every week, and we're looking forward to making some fun content in the upcoming month.
And maybe you can comment down below to which one of these games excited you the most. Or if we did a terrible job at explaining one of these games, feel free to clarify and ask us questions, because we'd love to tell you more, because these really have won our hearts and we want to play them immediately.
Yep. Yeah, there's something about explaining a game when it's not in front of you.
So,
but to that point,
pictures.
yes. If we didn't mention a game and you were at PAX U, or there was another
Can
game
you
that you're
believe
excited
they didn't
for,
mention
yeah,
this game?
exactly. Tell us about it. There's a lot of different games that we're really excited for. We had this criteria that they kind of had to meet, and
maybe you'll tell us the game, or we'll be like, hey, we weren't excited about that one. We didn't like it.
yeah. Everybody's allowed to have opinions. Everybody makes mistakes.
Well, it's not a mistake. It's an opinion.
That's true.
Anyway, have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you at the next video.
Yep. Bye.